Should you focus on Fiverr or maybe the Upwork is a platform for you? And I wanted to discuss those two freelancing platforms because they're still one of the main platforms. And I feel like when my whole journey, my whole channel, of course, is focused on Fiverr, on actually documenting my journey. But I do see a lot of people as well, even on YouTube, on X, they're talking about Upwork, they're talking about their journey. And also recently I met someone who is a top Upwork seller, and it just got me thinking about this platform and just to understand the differences between those two, and also for you to understand eventually where you should go. First of all, of course, all of my knowledge goes for Fiverr, and I'm very passionate about Fiverr. I think where the platform is going is definitely has a lot of potential, it has a lot of interest. But if you are possibly at the start of your journey, maybe Fiverr might not be ideal for you, or maybe you will encounter challenges because when you're starting your journey at the beginning, for me, for example, I started back in 2016. But as you can see, 2017, the year as well, things have went really well. 10K, 30K. I was a still student at that time, so that was just fascinating, making so much money when I was still studying at university. And in 2025, I'm still actively selling on Fiverr. Like, this is still something that I'm passionate about, and of course, my plan is to continue, hopefully to improve it. But the biggest thing that for me and for all others is to understand is that my services, they match Fiverr platform, I would say, quite well. Why? Because I do offer a service that has a very clear start and end point, meaning that we start an order and there are clear expectations exactly what I'm gonna deliver, right? So there's like no need to go back and forth with the customer. There is no like a custom projects or custom requests. When the buyer comes to me, the buyer exactly knows what he or she can expect from my service. And in this case, I'm doing Instagram growth, so I'm helping people grow their Instagram accounts, getting them connections, getting them more I would say opportunities as well from Instagram, and essentially bringing additional traffic. The same goes for content services. I'm creating X number of posts, I'm posting them on their page. Of course, clients might have revisions, that's very normal. But if we talk about Upwork, Upwork is different. And I remember at the start of my journey, I did try to go on Upwork at both times, Fiverr and Upwork, because you always wanna when you're just starting out, you have more time, you always wanna test things and you wanna see what works. So why not, why not start the same time on Fiverr and on Upwork and then see what works? Because you can see case studies. Some people are more successful on Upwork, some others are more successful on Fiverr as well. And the person that I met recently on lunch, it was very interesting because we discussed about this idea, like why Fiverr, why Upwork. And the thing about the Upwork is that the Upwork, you do have like a longer term projects, and of course that's one of the biggest advantages there, that the clients are gonna be actually staying with you for a longer time period. The clients will be actually maybe even working with you like for a year. So I feel like with Upwork, you are able to close the client for a longer time period. You can have this sort of like work for a whole year, right? So these are the differences, because in my case, with my service, it's not going to work that way, because I do offer a growth service for Instagram, and this is like a subscription service. So they have to pay every month until they cancel, and that's when they cancel, we stop the work. But on Upwork is different. You can have like, let's say, a bigger project. For example, let's say you're developing, let's say, a mobile app, right? iOS or Android app. And of course, to develop an app, this could take like, maybe 6 months. Okay, it can take even a month or 2 months, but let's say if it's a bigger project, more serious project, can take several months. And during those months, you still want to get paid, right? You still want to have some sort of, so with the Upwork, they do have this way of, kind of like getting paid based on the, let's say, like milestones, based on the progress. So that's how it's different, and that's, if you are offering services like this, that's might be, you know, one of the great maybe for you decisions to go on Upwork. Related to other things, you know, I want to also emphasize, so if we look at again at the Fiverr here, so of course we have like, you know, the gig based, this is very clear, you can you know, start, it's pretty quick, so you can, you know, set up your profile just, you know, within I don't know, within a day, and you can start just selling, and it has a clear start and end, so you know exactly, like on Fiverr you start, you complete your order, you deliver it, and that's pretty much it. And then the client might ask for revisions. But usually, I would say Fiverr, it's more like a, you know, it's, I don't want to call it maybe that way, but it's like a market, you know, like where you go, you know, you go and buy like, I don't know, fruits, vegetables, you know, you have one person that you buy from, and then next day you come back maybe to the same person, then another day you go to like test someone else, like you decide to go to the person next to that person that you used to go all the time, and maybe try something else. So it's kind of like, you know, people, it's definitely much harder to work with one client for a long time, because also Fiverr Fiverr wants you to actually maybe not work with one seller, you know. Fiverr wants you to try and experiment and work with multiple sellers. That's why they are, the one thing I'm not really happy about what Fiverr is doing is that they have Fiverr ads, which is great, but they try to push these ads inside of the inbox, right? So this is something that I don't think this is the right approach, because what we as a sellers we get these messages like, oh, I'm not interested, like, you know, like, why you message me, you know, like blah blah blah. Why? Because that's the thing, like I remember even I've seen that from the buyer side, like someone, let's say, wants to message me about my service, immediately Fiverr will just offer like another seller, my competitor, in their inbox to like basically mention, you know, like okay, you know, this seller can also help you. So it's a bit tricky to keep working with the same seller for a long time. So that's the biggest, you know, differences. And with the Upwork, you know, the Upwork is different because you can work with that. Like the Upwork, they don't really, you know, for them, I feel like their whole strategy is not about like giving you these different sellers and giving you these like options. I think for them, it's all about if you can establish this connection with the, let's say as a buyer with a seller, and you just work with the seller for a longer time, because essentially the more payments you will make with the same person, like it's also good for Upwork because it's good for retention. They can see that, oh, this seller is doing well, you guys are working for next maybe 8 months together, and because you're working for a long time together, you know, it makes a good impression about Upwork, because the buyer will be like, oh, I'm working with the seller for 6 months, I have good experience, blah blah blah. The other thing I'm noticing, people who are using Upwork, and you guys can of course correct me if you're Upwork expert, if you've been selling on Upwork, because I don't have like, you know, maybe has a lot of experience on Upwork, but I'm just saying based on my observation, based on what I see from other sellers on Upwork. But I can see that with Upwork, they're also more flexible regarding the communication. So I feel like it's like Upwork is not as strict as Fiverr. So this is some other things. I feel like they're a bit more, not relaxed, but it's just a bit different. And maybe that's also a good for some of the sellers, because they feel like, okay, I can still work on Upwork, but then I can communicate, let's say, because that's the other thing. Some companies, like, you know, buyers, they want you to be part of their Slack channels. They want to be part of their, you know, this kind of communication tools, because they are just like a bigger company, and for them it's just hard to use Fiverr because, you know, they have other team members in their Slack, you know, other things. So it makes it complicated. And I feel like on Upwork they are more flexible with that, so they are providing you like with more opportunities regarding that. So, you know, this is just a good way of thinking about that. You know, if you are just thinking about like, okay, you know, maybe Fiverr is good because it has a clear start and end, and, you know, Upwork is more like, you know, okay, you can work with this customer for a longer time, and then eventually you know, you can. The other thing which is very interesting is that I feel what I'm hearing as well, that people are able to like establish this great, you know, kind of like network with other buyers, and this can open up to more opportunities. I heard, like, even in my case, I always say that like when I had a client who has a conference and they invited me to speak at the conference, and this came from Fiverr, you know, for this like an opportunity there. And there are a lot of other opportunities that came, you know, I met so many amazing people that, you know, I end up, you know, working together. I end up collaborating in other projects. I became like really good friends. So I feel when you look at the Upwork, when you look at the Fiverr, both platforms, and just besides of the work, I feel they are able to bring you like a very strong network and a lot more connections, opportunities in the future, right? And at anything besides, you know, besides that, I also feel like it can open up some more career opportunities. Like even if you're just looking at the Upwork, at Fiverr, like, okay, like I don't see myself as a freelancer, I don't see myself as like, I don't know, agency owner or whatever, maybe for now. In the future it can change, but having your presence on these platforms can enable you a more career opportunities, because right now I feel like what I see in the job market, when you apply for jobs and you know, like you can showcase your, let's say, Upwork portfolio or your like kind of like you know, just to, because these platforms, you have reviews, and these reviews are like permanent, you know, they cannot be really removed, especially with Fiverr. As I know, they're extremely strict with that. They're not going to remove the review if it's like a negative review, even if the buyer said like your work is like, you know, shit, the review probably will be still there, you know. It's for them, they don't want to remove any reviews. And yes, it's not good, but it also creates another effect that other people, they look at this like, okay, this is legit, you know. So that's why, like, when companies are looking for you, hire you, I feel like this can be also a great opportunity. So guys, I want to also remind you that if you want to grow your you know, journey on Fiverr as a freelancer, just get more inspired, I do encourage you to check out my my newsletter, Freelance Hustle. Honestly, I'm really you know, motivated and you know, kind of like interested to continue the journey there, because I have, first you can see some sellers who are their case studies and their work. This is the interviews I have done. February I have two I don't know, two or three, two at least. We're gonna have amazing two new, well, they're Fiverr, active Fiverr sellers, and probably most likely you know them as well if you're following on X and on social media, so you probably recognize them. It will be amazing. So guys, feel free to subscribe, because you will obviously get the interviews. You'll see them on the YouTube channel, of course, and also I do have a Fiverr course. This is a great, I'm gonna be updating it, but this was a paid course, so this was actually costing before, but I made it for free because I feel like if you are struggling, if you need help, you know, I think this is probably the best way to just, like, you know, go explore, take a look at the lessons, you know, see how they can help you as well. And the last thing as well is that if you have a question, please write it in the comments below, because I do respond to every single comment. You can see it yourself. Every time someone asks a question, I'm actually motivated to go and try to help. You can, of course, message on Instagram, but I would say maybe, you know, it's not ideal in terms of my like reply. I want to reply as well on YouTube. I want to be able to, you know, help you guys as much as I can. So please just write there in the comments, and I will just you know, do my best to reply to you in depth. You know, you can all, of course, connect with Instagram, see behind the scenes, see how, you know, we are doing things in the agency space. But yeah, feel free to leave a comment. Consider subscribing. I'm seeing a lot of you, if you watched until the end, I would really appreciate you to subscribe to the channel as well on YouTube if you want to like stay updated, because I really love this the YouTube as a platform, and I feel like I mean, my goal is to, of course, to try to provide the best content that I can for you guys here on YouTube, so you can see, including the interviews, including the Fiverr sellers, including, like, we're gonna do more of like vlogs, like behind the scenes, because there's just a lot of things that are going on behind the scenes, you know, and I feel like it can benefit maybe some of you to see how we are doing things, to get maybe inspired, to learn something. And please, if you are also watching this, you know, like let's say in Serbia, like as you guys know, we are also based right now in Serbia. That's where we have our team, we have an office. So if you're actually from Serbia or somewhere around neighboring countries as well, you know, feel free to send me a message as well. You know, it will be amazing to meet you, and you know, to get to know you, and hopefully me also, like my team here, you know, I'm not just alone. We have a great team, we have great people as well who are also passionate about Fiverr. You know, like we're kind of like all working different, you know, we have like a content team, we have a growth team, we have like a sales management team. So everyone is like different, but we all have this like one goal: to grow together, to have like more opportunities, to have more cool things, and of course help you guys as well to succeed on the freelancing platforms, or just anywhere. You know, if you are scaling agency directly, this can be a good thing. So anyways guys, thank you so much, and hope to see you in the next video.